right, there we are. Kufar Akbar, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cross and Crescent Discussion Group, the last edition for the Cross and the Crescent Discussion Group for 2024. I am your host, Eric Theckefer, coming to you live from the Calvinist depths of the Kafir Cave in Dar al-Harb, Kafiristan. We are here every Monday, except for last Monday. We weren't here last Monday. From 5:30 to 7, 5:30 to 7:30, somewhere around there. It depends on what the topic is and how hungry I get by the end of the show. So I appreciate everybody coming today. Today's topic is something that I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube. And I admit, that's, most of the day I'm, listening to the bat phone. Can you see it? I got paint on. I was painting all day yesterday, and I got paint on my case, and it came off mostly off my hands, but it didn't come off my bat phone case. But anyway, I was sitting there while I'm painting. I get my bat phone and watching videos, and a lot of them dealt with the Injeel. If you go over to God Logic's channel, he does a lot of videos on the Injeel, the history of the Injeel, what the Injeel is. And I thought, let's just kind of hammer this thing down on this show. And so what I did today is I put together kind of a short slideshow on what the Quran says the Injeel is and compare that to what actually the Injeel is. The fact of the matter is yes, we have found the Injeel, and it's the fourfold gospel. That's what the Injeel is. That when Muhammad refers to the Injeel, if you want to accept Muhammad as a historical figure, if you want to go through all that, not roll and believe all that, the Injeel, the gospel that he is referring to, is the fourfold gospel. So what I'm going to do today is I want to go through that and show you, using Quranic verses and history, what we have from history, that the Injeel is indeed the fourfold gospel. It's not some book, made up book given to Jesus by God and Allah, or a message that Jesus delivered, according to most Muslim apologists today. And the reason why they have to say that it's a message that Jesus delivered and it contradicts the gospels that we have today is because the Quran contradicts the gospels that we have today. So whatever the Injeel is has to conform to the Quran. And we all know what a mess, a theological mess the Quran is. So let's go ahead and I see Larry's here, and Rob K showed up, and of course our friend Elizabeth Victoria, Stefania. There you go. Hey, Stefania, check your messages. You had sent me a message about what was it? About debating somebody, and I responded to you, but you never got back to me. So reply to that so I can get back with you after the show today. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this hot mess. Now this is a slideshow that I just threw together today. It's the first time I'm presenting it. So if there's anything wrong with it or anything like that, then don't blame me. It's just my first shot sharing this today. So where are we? Window, there we are. I believe that is, whoops, ruh-roh. There we are. All right. So the Injeel, we said that Injeel has found this great mystery has been solved, sort of. Okay, let me get my little laser pointer here hooked up. There we go. Look at that. I got my little, feeling mighty fancy with that. Okay, so let's take a look and see what the Quran has to say about the Injeel. It says that it was something that was given to Jesus. Now, this being given to Jesus can be either verbally, it can be kind of like how Muhammad received his revelation, verbally, from God, given to Jesus, and then Jesus shared that, and what he shared is the Injeel. Or it can be a book in writing. This is what the Quran, most Muslims will tell you it is. I don't believe it as far as I can throw it, but that's what it says. The Injeel, according to the Quran, is a book of the Christians. This isn't a book of the Muslims. It isn't a book of the Jews. It's a book of the Christians. When you look in chapter 6, verse 114, it says, what does it say here? Why didn't I underline? I went through and I underlined virtually everything here. Okay, he sent down the book, which is the Quran, and then explained we gave the scripture and the Injeel, what is revealed to your Lord. So he's talking to the Jews and the Christians here. So it is with the Christians in Mecca at this time. Now, at this time, this verse was the 7:157 was revealed. Muhammad was still in Mecca. He hadn't been run out of Mecca yet. So the Hijra, I believe, is 622. You guys can correct me on that one, but I believe it is 622 AD. So this verse precedes 622, or the Hijra, which I can't even remember what day. It was like June something, in 622. Now, keep in mind, Muhammad at this time is, this is his flowers and butterfly verses. This is not the harsh stuff that you find in chapter 5, chapter 2, chapter 9, those types of things. This is where he's trying to get along with everybody. So here he says, those who follow the messenger, the prophet, who can neither read nor write, whom they find written with them in the Torah. So 2 things here. Number 1, what is written? So this is a book that they have. This is not a message. This is a physical book that the Christians have. And it is the Injeel, and then it's with them. So they have a physical book with them in Mecca. That's what you would deduce from that. So it's you can either say it's a book given to Jesus or a book that the Christians have. And I'm going to go with the book that the Christians have. You can look at some other verses that refer to the Injeel in the Quran, because it never claims that it's corrupted. It says we gave Jesus, confirming, it says that we sent Isa, son of Mary, confirming the Torah, and we gave him the Injeel, which is guidance and light. So, and confirmation of the Torah. So if the Injeel does not confirm the Torah, then how can it be guidance and light? How can the Injeel be guidance and light if it is corrupt? How can that be? How can that be? That's astounding. You get to chapter 3, verse 3, and he sent down the Torah and the Injeel. So God sending down the Torah. And we could get into that where, he's always going to protect the scripture and you can't change it all day long. And, you're always going to get this mantra without having any type of proof within the Quran itself saying, well, it's only referring to the Quran, which it's not. It says scripture or the message of God, the word of God. Word of God cannot be changed. Well, that includes if the Torah, he sent down the Torah and the Injeel, can they be changed? No. So why would the Muslims say today that the Torah and the Injeel have been changed? It's because the Quran, unbeknownst to those people who recited it early, did not realize that it contradicted the Torah and the Injeel, and they didn't realize that.
Just a quick thing there, Aaron. The Muslims do not say that the Injeel and Torah were corrupt. No, it's incorruptible. It's just totally disappeared from the face of the earth.
Yeah. When who stole it? A pink unicorn?
I want to add something here too. This is actually my favorite topic. I'm so glad we're doing this today. This is like literally my favorite stuff. The problem is that a lot of Muslims are imitating Christians. And I'll explain what I mean, particularly Protestant Christians. So in Protestant Christian doctrine, there's this concept or construct of sola scriptura, of following the text, Ancient Muslims didn't have the same kind of sola scriptura position. So a lot of the ancient Muslim scholars had really no problem with, they said that these texts were not corrupted. The ancient Islamic scholars said that they were not corrupted. This is more like 12th century scholars and on. So a lot of Muslims are influenced by Salafi Islam, which is a hyper-literalistic perspective of Islam. And it's really imitating, it's trying to imitate Protestant Christianity, but it's failing. Salafi Islam is a poor imitation of Protestant Christianity, I think, in Islam. It's trying to do what Protestant Christianity is doing, but it doesn't know how to do it right.
Well, I would. Well, somebody else has different right.
Well, let me get a clarification on this. So what you're trying to say is that there is a sect of Islam today trying to act as if they were the equivalent of the Protestant Reformation in Christianity? Is that what?
Well, because the Salafi is a reformation, and they're highly financed because most of the money comes from Qatar, it comes from Saudi Arabia. So they finance books, they finance this type of theology, which the idea is that we're following the text. We're taking out all. It's literally trying to align exactly with Protestant Christian because it's a reformation. It's literally that, but it doesn't do it right. So what it tries to say is like the ancient Sufis, the kind of mystics of the tradition who are kind of more parallel to Catholics and Orthodox in the Christian space. They're trying to say they're corrupt. They're not doing things correctly. So the Salafi is now doing things right. We're following the text. We're following the scholars to the T. So this is where we're seeing this intense narrative of, well, the Torah and the Gospels are corrupt. The problem is this is in violation to the creed of Islam. So in Islam, there's a hadith. It's a Hadith Qudsi. So this is a high level hadith where the angel Gabriel comes and he's this clean man and he talks to the Prophet of Islam and says, hey, these are your articles of faith. You need to believe in the articles of Islam, the articles of Iman, and the articles of Ihsan, and talks about the Day of Judgment and stuff. So there's a hadith about this. So in the articles of Iman, you have to believe in God.
Do we lose Isa? Okay, Isa, we lost.
You have to believe in prophets.
Isa, we lost.
You have to believe in books.
Isa, we lost the last 10 seconds of what you just said. Isa. He doesn't realize he's fading in and out. Can you hear him, Rad, or is it just me?
No, he's fading in and out. He's fading in and out.
Yeah. Okay,
Isa,
Isa,
you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, the last 20 seconds, we didn't hear.
Sorry, I must have been in a dead zone. I apologize. I'll say it one more time. So basically, what I was saying is, you have so you heard about the Hadith Qudsi, right? You heard that part.
Right. That's where you were at. Okay.
So there's the articles.
The Matrix again.
Of Islam, the articles of Iman, and the articles of Ihsan. So the idea is in the articles of Iman, or the articles of faith, you have to believe in the angels, you have to believe in God, you have to believe in the angels, you have to believe in the prophets, you have to believe in the books. That is an article of faith in your traditional standard Sunni Islam. You have to believe in the books. If you say the books just magically disappeared or they're corrupted, then you're violating that creed of faith. And they keep doing it. I don't know how you do that.
What hadith is that? Hadith Qudsi what?
It's a Hadith Qudsi. It's the Hadith of Angel Gabriel, where it says that there's the articles of Islam, the articles of Iman.
Bukhari, is this Muslim?
I think it's a Sahih Bukhari. I'm pretty sure. It's in one of the major Sahih collections. Okay. And it talks about this man who's super clean, and he has dark hair, and it looks like he was untouched by the desert. So, and that...
The Hadith Qudsi, there's 70 hadith, and they're considered equal on the same level as the Quran.
Right.
And you faded out again on this, Isa.
Okay, what I'll do is I'm gonna look that up because that's a great point. Because if it is according to the traditions, and if this is indeed a recent phenomenon, which I actually believe that this idea that the Bible has been corrupted, and the reason why the Bible has been corrupted, and the reason why Muslims don't believe it today is because it's been corrupted. I don't think that this is a traditional view of Islam. I might be wrong on that, historically anyway. It was, as far as what I understand, is that the Quran teaches, and what Muslims believe is that Christians, just like in Jeremiah 8:8, where it talks about how the scribes used the teachings to lead people astray and teach things that it does not say, and that's what people were doing, and this is what traditional Muslims believe. Now, I'm willing to be wrong on that, but that's, I'm pretty sure that's the deal. Holy cow! I'm not even watching chat. I'm sorry, folks. Aladdin's here. Aladdin, I was actually going to invite you today. If you go to the YouTube link, and you see the stream, and you can come on and tell me where we can find this Injeel today, where exactly it is, and make sure that when you do come on, there you go. Of course, I'm ignorant. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm ignorant. I speak with emotions and not with intellect. I get that. Okay, fine. Just come in and tell us where we can find this Injeel that you guys talk about. That's Nico.
He's attacking me. He's calling me a jahil.
Oh, he's calling you. What's a jahil?
He's calling me a jahil is an ignorant person.
Oh,
wait, but look at what he says. Look at what he says here. He said, the more you talk about Islam, the more you do damage to Islam. So Isa is actually doing damage to Islam. Keep talking, Isa, because that's what we want. We want to do damage to Islam.
But so what did I say that was emotional?
I don't know. I don't know.
It might be projection.
That's probably what I would. That's my guess. That's normally what it is.
What he's saying is from a place of passion.
Yeah. He's so Aladdin. So let's just make sure he has my invite here. Nowhere in the Quran says nowhere. Okay, it says the Injeel is a book. Okay, whatever you say. No, you're. I'm fixing to show you. So, as a matter of fact, let me go back to that. As a matter of fact, no, I'm going to get to it. Aladdin, click it. Come up here, and I'm going to show you where it does say it is written. So don't give me this. And this is the common lying screed. This is the problem with Islam. The gig is up. This idea where you can constantly lie to people about your faith, about what the Quran says, about what the Hadith says, about who Muhammad is, about the history of it. Those days are over. You can no longer hide what happened in 7th century Arabia in this vacuum of information that you only control. The kafir, the Islamophobes, which are kafirs who know too much about Islam, know what your book says. And what we can do, as a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and jump to that real quick. Well, hold on. You tell me. This is what I'm saying. It's not a book. And Allah set down the Torah and the Injeel, confirming what came before it. It's not a book. That's not a book, huh? Let's see. Verily I am this lady. He's given me the scripture. What is scripture? Scripture is a book. And here's 527. And gave him the Injeel. And we sent Isa and gave him the Injeel. So what do you give? You gave him a message. We gave him the Injeel, which is guidance and light and confirmation of the Torah. He sent down. Okay, so how do we know it's a book? Well, let's take a look and see what the transliteration of the Quran has to say. Where are you, Aladdin? Click that link, brother. Come on up here. I
see another comment. It says, I keep talking with emotions. That's interesting.
Yeah. I see Larry's. Is that Larry? Yep, that's Larry. Getting started. We missed a few things Lisa said. Okay. Let's see here. What does it say? Those who follow. This is the transliteration, word by word. This isn't the translation. This is the transliteration. The messenger, the prophet, the unlettered whom they find what? Written. Oh, if you're going to find written, where is written what? Is that a message? No, this is what they with them. This is two things. It is written and it is with them. That is what the Christians have. That is the gospel and the Injeel. They have it written. It's written. They have it in their hands, and it's with them. That's what 757 is saying. You know, and it's talking about, this is where Muhammad says, "Hey, look, I'm in your Bible." Those who follow, this is Muhammad talking, prophesying about himself. Those who follow the messenger, the prophet, the unlettered, whom they find him where he is written in their Injeel, that is with them, in the Torah and the Injeel. Look at there. He's in the Torah. He is in the Torah. He's written in the Torah and the Injeel. Aladdin, where are you? Where are you, sir? I see that you, scripture is no, a book is a revelation revealed to Jesus. No, Aladdin, it is not. The Gospels, and here's what I'm gonna show
that's
you.
False. It says maktubin in Arabic, which means written. That is what the Arabic says. It says maktubin. So there's no way he can argue that. And he's against the Quran, against the Hadith, and the early scholars don't agree with him. So
written, it is written, maktubin, it's written.
See, I said it.
Yeah, and it's with them. It's what they actually have in their hands. Who has this? Well, the Christians have this in their hands. Well, what do they have in their hands? Well, I would say it's the gospel. And how do we know it's the gospel? Well, the gospel actually predates Muhammad, don't you see? You have the Alexandrinus, which is early 5th century, right here, right there, early 5th, around 450, about 450. Muhammad is what? 632. He'd be dead. So this is what? Almost 200 years, almost 2 centuries prior to Muhammad, the Codex Alexandrinus. Oh, it gets worse. And this is the earliest Bible text. And we're talking about the almost entire Bible is in they don't have the entire Bibles in the Alexandrinus, but I tell you what is the fourfold gospel. The Injeel is right there in the Alexandrinus. And you know that Injeel that we have in the 5th century, you know what we have today? The same thing. Oh, what? That's not just it. We have the Codex Sinaiticus. And look what it says. This essay is what? Right there, produced at any point from the early 4th century to the early 5th century. So anywhere from the early 4th century is 310 to 410, somewhere around there. So that is a full 300 years before Muhammad. And of course, the Vaticanus right here, buddy. Look at it, the Codex Vaticanus, about 325. That's right about the time Council of Nicaea. So look at there, the Vaticanus, 325. That is 300 years before Muhammad. So we do know what the Injeel is because it's in these 3 complete Bibles. They predate Islam. And what Bibles did they have with them? Well, the Quran tells us it's what you have. You will find me written in those Bibles that you have with you, blabbing his mouth, trying to get away with it. So here's the problem which you run into. We have complete Bibles that date back to 325 AD. Islam, 632 AD. The Quran says that the Christians had the Injeel at the time. It was with them. And this is as early as 622. He's saying that you have the Injeel right there. The Gospels we have today in those Bibles that I just cited are the same as they were in 622 and 3 centuries earlier. The same gospel. It's the same Gospels. It's not some Injeel made up, fabricated, Jesus walking around saying, "No, don't follow me. I'm just a prophet. I'm not God. Don't call me God. I never died on the cross." No. It's not that guy. It's not that guy. It's not in there. And if there is a book, if there is an Injeel, I'm going to ask you to produce it. Now, if the Injeel is different than the one we have today, the requirement of proof is on you. You have to prove. You have to provide a text. You have to show physical evidence refuting centuries and thousands of manuscripts that say that you're full of crap. That's your responsibility, not mine. You want to make it up? Go on ahead. But you have to prove it if you want us to believe it. In order to make this argument from corruption, number one, you have to say that the New Testament, you have to show me a New Testament, a gospel that says that Jesus is not God or is not described as the Son of God. You have to show me that. You have to show me a New Testament. You have to show me a gospel that says that Jesus was never crucified. You have to prove that. That's your responsibility. You have to say that Jesus preached a completely different gospel. And you know what? I would refer you, let me refer you to the epistle of Paul. Let me pull it up real quick before I start running my blabbermouth here. Where are you? You're right there. The one that begins with G. And I'm going to go to verse 7? No. Yeah. Well, I'm going to start at verse 6 in the book of Galatians, chapter 1. It says, I'm astonished that you're so quickly deserting him who called you in the grace of Christ and are turning to a different gospel. Not there is another one, but there are some who trouble you and want to distort the gospel of Christ. But now listen to what Paul says. But even if we, this is Paul, and I believe this is Timothy, Silas, who was with him at this time. If we, or what, an angel from heaven should preach to you a gospel contrary to the one we preach to you, let him be accursed. Let him be damned is what that means. Let him be sentenced to hell. If we or an angel, does that sound familiar? An angel, Gabriel, preached you a different gospel. Jesus didn't die on the cross. Jesus wasn't the Son of God. Does that sound familiar? That sounds really familiar to me. Let him be accursed. And then he comes back and says it again. And we have said before, so now I say again, if anyone is preaching to a gospel contrary to the one you received, let him be accursed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if you're going to tell me that there is an Injeel out there, it is your responsibility to prove it. You need to prove it. You need to show me a manuscript. You need to show me a manuscript. I mean, we got 5,800 Greek New Testament manuscripts, for crying out loud. We have 19,000 other ones that are Syriac and Coptic and all kinds of other languages and translation. There is one thing that I wrote down today. We have, this is something that I just find outstanding. Yeah, Qudsi.
So I want to add one thing too, brother.
Let me just say this one thing. Let me land this plane, guys. I'm almost done here. Let me land this. We have 36,000 quotations from the early church fathers that predate the Vaticanus, Sinaiticus, and Alexandrinus. Make sure you understand that. If you're going to say, well, the gospel was corrupted before Sinaiticus or Vaticanus, which is 325, it was corrupted before then. Well, what you're going to have to do is prove it, because all the manuscripts that we have that predate 325 are consistent with what is written in 325. We might not have only a fragment of John, like the Ryland Papyrus P52, only a fragment of that, but what we have the fragment of is consistent with Vaticanus. It's consistent with what we have today. But what we also have is 36,000 separate quotations from the early church fathers that predate Vaticanus, that describe or that quote the Gospels, that quote the New Testament. So you're going to have to say that all of these people that were quoting the New Testament, all of these people that, all these manuscripts that we have, they're all wrong because this Injeel that you have zero evidence for outside of the Quran proves everybody wrong. That's insanity. That's just not insanity. That's just abject stupidity to believe that. So the last thing I got to say about this is that you just can't say it's in the Injeel. You have to provide evidence. You have to show me evidence that the Injeel existed. You have to show me a manuscript. This is what you would demand from the Christians. You have to show me a manuscript, or you have to show me somebody that mentions this separate gospel than the ones that the Christians had that is authoritative. You have to show me a writing. We have all kinds of writings from the early church fathers citing all of these heretical, made up, the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Peter, and all these other made up gospel, the Gospel of Thomas, which is late second century, that attributed them to the apostles. We have a lot of that, and that's probably what Muhammad heard. And as a matter of fact, the great second treatise of Seth, the second great treatise of Seth, make sure I say that right, is where he got the idea that Jesus was never crucified and only made to appear so. You have to do better. And if you can't, then you need to shut your pie hole and stay off my stream. Okay, guys, what were you going to say?
Rod can go first.
Go ahead.
Uh-oh. Did I click somebody out?
Isa, you there?
Isa.
Yes, I'm here. I can go. You want...
Isa, you're breaking up again. You're in a dead spot. Sorry, we can't hear you. All right. Well, I was just going to say that, Aladdin, where'd that comment go? Here's what he says. I said, go and learn what is the meaning of Hadith Qudsi. Aladdin, why don't you come up and join the stream and tell us?
He's a coward.
Yeah, learn us what is the meaning of Hadith Qudsi. I believe it's Hadith Qudsi that has the story of the man who committed 99 murders. Have you ever heard that story?
Of course, yes. He committed 99 murders, and then he wanted to fix what he did wrong. Mm-hmm. So he went to several sages, and the first sage said, you can't do anything, you're finished. So he killed that sage, and then his body count was 100. And then he went to another person. The person said, I can't handle that. You go to this other sage. So the third sage said, go to this town where you can get yourself to be a better person and be with good people. So he said, I'll do that. And he started walking, and then he died on the way. So two angels came to decide where his fate was going to go to hell or heaven. And ultimately the decision was whatever is closer. He was close. If he was more than halfway to the place, he was going to go to heaven. Ultimately, he was only a quarter there. But then, the divine brought the place he was going right to him. So then he went to heaven. So that's the story in a nutshell. But
isn't that in Hadith Qudsi?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. But the Hadith Qudsi, it comes from the word Qaf Dal Sin, which is Quds. You might know this word. Qudus, Kodesh. You probably are familiar with this word. It's holy. So it's like sacred or holy hadith. So these hadith are connected directly to God. That's why they're called Hadith Qudsi, because they're sacred, holy hadith. So he can say jahil. Maybe what he means to call me is kibr. Maybe I'm arrogant. But I don't think I would be ignorant. I don't think that would be a fair argument. But that's what it is. And also, I wanted to make push the argument even further. You have a movie in your collection, Eric. You have Al-Risala, The Message, right? That movie from the 70s, the kind of epic about Islam, right?
What's it called?
The Message. You have it in your collection. It has Anthony Quinn, Irene Pappas.
Yeah. Yep, I sure do.
Famous British actors, and it's a really good movie. It's very well acted. Whether you agree with the story or not, it's
Muhammad. You don't see Muhammad.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't do that. But do you know what's funny is that it is certified by Al Azhar University from Egypt.
I heard that.
Guess what happens in the movie? There's a whole scene where the scholars are where the heroes of Islam are talking about the Testament, meaning the Gospels, and they're talking about the Torah and talking about all the good things in these texts. There's a whole scene where they're doing that. Where they're like, the Testament teaches us that we have to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. There's a whole scene of that. I'm not making it up. Watch the movie. You'll see it. So Al-Azhar gave the stamp on this. So Al-Azhar is saying that these texts aren't corrupted because they're saying that they are quoting the texts and saying the texts are true in this movie. So whatever Ala-ad-Din wants to say about that, I don't think there's no checkmate on that. I don't think he can get a checkmate.
You want to hear what's really crazy about me having that movie itself is that I bought that movie when I was in Iraq. They were selling it on, I was at a place called Talafar. We were out at an airfield, and they had a bunch of Iraqis that would come in and they would sell things to American soldiers. And a guy was selling these videos, and that was one of the videos that I bought. And lo and behold, I was sitting there watching. I'm like, well, where's Muhammad? This is 2003 or whenever it was. Who's in the movie? Is that Anthony Quinn?
Anthony Quinn, Irene Pappas, Michael Forrest. You have a whole load. The guy who plays, he's a Syrian Christian actor. He plays the bad guy. What his name is.
Of course. They got to give the bad guy part to a Christian. Yeah.
It's a Syrian Christian. Well, most of them are actually Christian actors. They're all British Christian actors that are playing.
It is. I'll admit it is a good movie, but it is nothing but a puff piece. It's complete distortion of what happened to Muslims when they were in Mecca. I mean, it shows them being pretty much crucified. And I think there was only one martyr. Am I right on this? There's only one person martyred while they were in Mecca. And the worst thing that happened to Muhammad was somebody threw an animal skin on him or some animal guts on him or something like that when he was praying. I mean, it's just absurd to say that they were persecuted in Mecca to the point where they had to make this escape or this hijrah to Medina. And what they try to do is they try to equate this. And this is what we find with what's his face that we had here debate the crusade. Nadir Ahmed. He comes in here and he's trying to say, well, Muhammad is like Moses. I mean, he had to make this pilgrimage because he was persecuted by it. No, he wasn't. Muhammad wasn't persecuted by anybody. This is what is portrayed in that movie. It's just complete bunk. I'm going through some of these Hadith Qudsi, and how many did you say there was? Because this website only has 40. Didn't you say there's like 70 something or?
Yeah, I was going to call. That was my mistake. I thought it was 70. It's 40 Hadith.
Is it only 40?
Only 40. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think this might be next week's show then. On the authority of Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, the first of his actions for which a servant of Allah will be held accountable on the day of resurrection will be his prayers. So this is fasting is mine, and I will give reward for it. On the authority I spend on charity, O son of Adam, and I shall spend on you. So they have some pretty good stuff here. But these are hadith that have the same authority. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think the first time I heard of one of these was when we had Chris Cross on the program one night. He brought this up, and I'm like, "What the heck is you talking about?" But I believe they have the same authority as the Quran. Am I?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So we should go through these and take a look and see what they have to say. And I'm sure the majority of them are going to, like most of the hadith, are going to provide Muhammad in a positive light, with the exception of the parts about Aisha and anyway. Okay, so what I wanted to do here, we've only been at it, 40 minutes? I wanted to. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add about the Injeel? Anything that I might be wrong about? Why don't?
I actually want to engage what Alauddin said. Alauddin tried to challenge me and say that maktubin does not mean written. I don't know how he can say that. Kataba is from writings, and ma is a place where you're doing something. So I mean, I don't know how he can argue that it doesn't mean written. I don't know how linguistic, and also we have to understand Alauddin may speak Arabic, but he does not speak Fusha. Fusha is classical ancient Quranic Arabic. So a modern Arab does not speak Fusha, nor do they understand it. They might understand. It's like a person who speaks modern day Greek. If you look into ancient Greek, you might understand some of the ancient Greek, but you're not going to fully master it. It takes a lot of work to understand the ancient Greek because ancient Greek is not speak. It's the same thing with Latin and Italian. This is what we have to understand with linguistics. So Alauddin could say maktubin doesn't mean written. Maybe it doesn't mean it in his dialect of Arabic, but that does not mean in Fusha it doesn't mean that. Any scholar,
a lot of people, a lot of the translators, if you look at the translators, as a matter of fact, I'll bring it up, and because that was a point that I was looking at, because they say, oh, it doesn't say that, it doesn't say written. Yes, it does. So let me go 7:157, because some of the translators try to sneak it in there and say, instead of saying written, saying described. Let's see here. Let me drag this over here and share again. Screen. Bada bing. Boom. Shwada swing. Shwoom. There it is. Okay, so the messenger who they find written. So it says written. Let me make it bigger. Let me make it just a little bit bigger so we can see this. There we go. Okay, so they find written at Sahih International in what they have, the Torah and the Gospel. They have, but here's Pickthall. Pickthall will say described. Ali says mentioned. Shakir says written. Sarwar, description. Mushikan, written. And that's the one that I trust the most because he's very literal. And Arbery, written. So the majority of them do say written. And again, the transliteration that we went through says written also. So he obviously doesn't know what the heck he's talking about.
I think Alauddin is quite interesting too, because Alauddin is just saying I am emotional, but it's interesting that he hasn't challenged any of my arguments. It seems that he's challenging me from an emotional place, not an intellectual place. I said, we look at the word maktuban, it's a passive participle. So you have to understand grammar. I would love to see Alauddin's grammar. He might know how to speak Arabic, but let's see his scholarship on grammar. Let's see if he knows the grammar of Arabic, because it's a passive participle, but that which is written. It is written. That is what maktubin means. And I get it, for his theology, he can't accept it, but that is what it is, linguistically speaking. Maktubin means that. So Alauddin, I say work on your theology. If this doesn't work for you, you don't like the Injeel and the Torah to be, from Allah, then you're going to have to work on your theology. That's your problem, not the problem of the linguistics and the text.
Well, this is what he does. He comes to, shows like this and then posts those type of things in the chat and tries to get everybody's attention. And refuses to come up and when you challenge his challenge, he runs away, and that's obviously what he did. This Great Commission, I put if you want to come up, that's fine. I put the link for the Streamlab in the chat. I pinned it in the chat on YouTube. So and it looks like you're on YouTube right now. So if you want to come up, you're more than Scripture is no book, is revelation oral revealed to Jesus. Now again, this is the problem. I mean, this is the problem. If it is not a book, okay, and it's revelation orally revealed to Jesus, who revealed it to Jesus orally? That's a question. The second question then is, okay, so what did Jesus then teach? Therefore, teach, because what we know about the people who were there, Matthew, John, eyewitnesses, and people who knew the people who were there, Luke, Mark. That's what we have. Those are the writings that we have. You know, if you're going to try to tell me that, well, we don't know that those are the authors, well, then that's a completely different argument. And I promise you, you're going to lose that argument if you are going to be consistent in your argumentation with the Quran, applying the same standards to the Quran. So the bottom line here is that if it was some separate message, then where is it? Who wrote it down? And what was it then that the Christians had with them in 7th century Mecca? And I promise you, you have no answers for that. Nothing that you can demonstrate when we start talking about, you know, using the historical method and how to determine facts and how to determine, you know, what was said and what wasn't said. You have nothing. Zero. I feel like that guy in the, what was that movie? You have nothing. What was that? That was Al Capone in The Untouchables. There we go. There's my movie. So you have nothing. Look at you. You have nothing. Is that pretty good, Issa? Issa's the expert on everything.
You got nothing. Yeah, you've got accents. You're funny. No, but one thing I want to add. You're funny. I want to add one thing too, brother. He keeps calling me a jahil, which is interesting because he's not actually challenged any of the arguments I've made. He's done ad hominem attacks against me. He's saying I'm a sinner. I don't really care. What I care about is engage the points. If you're saying maktubin does not mean written, then you have a problem because you know the word kitab. You've probably heard that word, right, before, panel? Kitab means book. Why is a thing a book? Because it's stuff is written in a book. When you make it a verb, it's like you say kataba, it means he wrote, like he has written. He wrote. Kataba means he wrote. So like it's ridiculous. This is a ridiculous argument, and the only reason they're making it, this gentleman here, Alauddin, is making it, is because he doesn't like the theological implication. You have to accept it. And also, he didn't engage my argument about Iman, about the point that you have to believe in the books. It doesn't say that the books just went poof and disappeared. It doesn't say the books are corrupted. That's not in the Quran. It's not in the tradition. This is just a wholesale, fabrication. So the only person who's emotional is the person who's making that argument. It's not. There's no scholarly argument that can be made for it. The only argument is it doesn't work with my theology, thus I have to reject it.
Okay, I'm posting the Streamlab. I think I did. Did I post the Streamlab, repost the Streamlab link in chat? I mean, can you guys see that? I mean, Nico, can you see that at the top of?
Yeah, it's pinned up there.
Okay, now is this the guy that we had on before the Great Commission? Do you know? Is this the same guy?
I'm not familiar with him.
Oh, I was thinking this was the guy that was your friend that preached to the Mormons and.
Oh, for 4 Mormons, I don't think it's the same person.
Okay, all right. Well, I was thinking it was. Okay, so let's see here. Well, we're going to move on then. I think we beat that horse to death. The Injeel, we have the Injeel. It has been found, and it's amazing. It's been around for 1900 years. Look at there. We've done a couple shows. Just let me remind people, we've done a couple shows on the dating of the Gospels. I should do a show on the dating of the entire of all to include the epistles within the gospel within the context of the Gospels. Also, I think that would be relevant because we could actually see Paul when he's writing his epistles, how he's quoting scripture, what is considered to be scripture from Luke and from Mark. So, Paul's epistles, which are dated in the 50s, post-date the Gospels of Mark and am I right on that? Mark, yeah, Mark, no, Mark. Well, yeah, because he does quote Luke, so they post-date Mark and Luke. So it pushes their Gospels clear back into the early 50s, maybe back even perhaps into the 40s. So this idea that Muslims like to come up with the saying, well, all that's been corrupted. You got to show us something. I mean, you have to show us something because, like I mentioned before, we have 36,000 quotations from the New Testament from the early church fathers. 36,000.
Brother, there's one other thing I wanted to add too. So what a lot of Muslims try to do is the argument of corruption. The argument is tahrif. That's the word in Arabic. It means corruption. So there's an idea that the texts are corrupted. I've written a paper on this, and I'm hoping to actually do a master's thesis on this because I think tahrif is such an important thing. It's the idea that the texts are corrupted. And, there's a verse in the Quran that says, things have been, they have changed the things with their words. These certain people did this, in the Quran it says this. But it doesn't say that there was textual corruption. It just says really the argument is that they corrupted the things with their words, which does not mean that the text is corrupted. So because the point is that would violate the theology that all of these things come from God, so how could they be corrupted? How could the Torah and the Injeel and the Zabur be corrupted? It doesn't even make sense because theologically you have a catastrophe if you take that position. What you say is that God allows for corruption of God's texts. How could you say that? You can't say that. You know what I mean? And so it's impossible. It is an impossible narrative to say that these texts are corrupted just because you don't like what the texts say. Right. That's like a whiny child who's throwing a hissy fit. You don't like what it says, that's too bad. That's what the text says. So you need to work on how to reconcile it.
Let me reshare this Quranic verse with everybody, just so they understand what we're talking about here. TGC, I don't know. That's the Great Commandment guy. Okay, let me get this out of the way first. Okay, so what we're talking about is the corruption. Now, keep in mind, we have demonstrated that the Quran claims that the Christians have with them written in their Injeel, their gospel, and at the same time, we gave him the Injeel, the gospel. Whoops, I'm on the wrong screen. The gospel, can you guys see? The gospel, which is what? Which was guidance and light and confirmation of the Torah. So here, even in the Quran, it's saying that the Injeel, the gospel that they have with them in the 7th century has guidance and light, confirming the Torah. Now if you're gonna say, okay, well, it's been corrupted, it's been changed, you're gonna have to prove it. You're just gonna have to prove it. Don't give me these little variants and let's be honest. The three big ones that they always go to, is number one, the woman caught in adultery. The woman caught in adultery has no impact on any core Christian teaching other than maybe forgiveness, because he forgave the woman caught in adultery. Does Jesus forgive sins in the New Testament, in the gospel? Yeah, you go to Mark and you go to Luke and you'll find him forgiving the paralytic sins. And everybody around him, how can you say that? Well, okay. The second one is the long ending of Mark, where they're sitting there playing with snakes. Well, not too many people out there playing with snakes today, so that's really not a problem as far as a core Christian doctrine. And the other one is 1 John 5:7. Those are the three ones they go to. 1 John 5:7 talks about the three in heaven, quoting the Trinity. And again, the Trinity, we find the Trinity all over. Hold on, let me see here. We find the Trinity all. What happened here? What? Okay. What happened? We find the Trinity all throughout the New Testament and all throughout throughout the Bible. Just a case in point with that is we find at the baptism of Jesus, you have, the Father speaking, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased," and you have the dove of the Spirit descending upon him, and descending on who? The Son. So Father, Spirit, Son, right there. You have the entire Trinity right there. So none of these things impact any core Christian teachings. Now, what would if we found something that denied the crucifixion of Jesus? Well, then that would call into question how badly those gospels have been corrupted. And guess what we find in the Quran? 4:157, it denies the crucifixion of Jesus. Shocker. This is why we get this from our Muslim friends. Okay. The Great Commission guy came up here. Hello, sir. I think it's a sir. Is it a girl?
Shalom, brother Eric.
Shalom.
How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for allowing me up.
Yeah, no problem. Have you come up here before? Have you been on the show before?
No, this is actually my first time.
How can this be your first time? We've been around for 5 years. Where have you been? You been hiding in a cave or what?
Yeah, here and there, working, living just.
You guys that have jobs, I feel so sorry.
Yeah. Long hours.
Yeah, well, you got to pay your taxes.
Yeah, and rent and food.
Yeah,
housing, all that stuff.
Yeah, I hear you. You got to make do. You got to do what you got to do in order to get through. So, what's on your mind? You wanted to say something, or you just wanted to come up, contribute, or because I got some.
Yes, I wanted to discuss the gospel and what it really is. The gospel, we know it as gospel, but it's the good news.
Right. Yep. Great point.
And
verb. It's not right. Go ahead.
So I will submit that it was never a book given to our Messiah, Jesus, that he actually lived the Injeel or the gospel, the good news. And that good news is that he came to die so that all who believes on him will come into his kingdom during this greater exodus that is coming. And because of that, what Islam teaches is completely false, is a counterfeit, in that whoever wrote the Quran and any Islamic literature was ignorant to this fact.
Well, I agree 100%. They were ignorant to the fact to know what the gospel is, because when we look at the gospel accounts, it's the gospel according to Matthew, the gospel according to Mark, the gospel according to Luke, the gospel according to John. So what is the gospel? It is what Jesus Christ did. It's the good news of what Christ did. It's not a book. It's not an Injeel given to Jesus or the like. It's what he did. What he did for us. Yeah, I agree 100%.
So
100%.
When we look at Jeremiah and we look at Hebrews, it tells us that the new covenant was given to the house of Israel and the house of Judah. So the house of Israel and the house of Judah, when they are united as one, that is the kingdom of God. Because they were supposed to be a priestly nation to all the nations. They weren't just chosen just to be his chosen people, but they had a role to fulfill to bring all nations to God. So the kingdom split after King Solomon. It split to the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Correct. So the house of Israel is that northern kingdom. And if you look at Jeremiah 3, verse 8, he divorced them and then he scattered them through Assyria and they never returned.
721. Yes, sir.
They have never returned to this day.
Did you know I like history? This is why you're saying this. All these. I'm sorry.
Yes,
go ahead.
It makes two of us.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
If we understand this, this is how we can refute Islam, because The Bible tells us throughout scriptures that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob went into covenant with all of Jacob. When I say all of Jacob, it's all the 12 tribes of Israel, that he is their husband. So if you look at Jeremiah 31:31, he goes, though I was a husband to you. So for the northern kingdom to return, they are unable to return unless that husband dies. He has to release them from the law of the husband. You can see that in Deuteronomy 24, 1-4. And Paul references this in Romans 7, 1-4, that you are dead to the law in Christ, that you may be married to him who has risen, to the new man. So when he brings back all of Israel from all the nations that he scattered them, all those who believe on him also will come with them into his kingdom, who will be a much greater number of mixed multitudes, as we saw the first Exodus from Egypt. So unless he came in the flesh and died as a man to release them from that law, there would be no salvation for all the world.
And this is the problem with, again, this is the problem with Islam, is that they don't understand. Muhammad was a theological idiot. When he's tried to start, here's a great example. When you start looking at the story of where he's I can't remember, I think it's in chapter 5, where he talks about a raven digging up the ground. This is when Cain kills Abel. Okay, and he's looking for a way to bury his brother. Okay, and he's trying to relate this story. This, of course, comes from some Gnostic source or some apocryphal book. I can't remember where it comes from, but it predates Islam by centuries. But the point that I'm trying to make is it talks about, if you read what it says, it talks about, it comes from the Jewish Talmud. There we go. It comes from the Jewish Talmud. And it talks about the bloods instead of the bloods for generations coming forward. And he's just, uses the story, but does not include the plurality of the bloods to show the significance, the theological significance of what Cain did to Abel. And so when you start talking about the prophecies, the hundreds of prophecies of Christ and what he's going to do and what type of effect that he's going to have on the world, and when you find it in the Jeremiah, you find it in Isaiah, you find it in Daniel. I mean, you find all of these prophecies of Christ, about Christ, the Psalms even. They don't understand their implications. For example, Psalm 22, it opens up with, my God, why have you forsaken me? Well, this is clearly a prophetic psalm that Muslims will say, well, why is he saying, he wasn't on the cross. Why would he say something like this? He's saying this to go back to Psalm 22, because Psalm 22 is a messianic prophecy, known to be a messianic prophecy of who the Messiah was going to. He's shouting out and saying, look, I am the Messiah. They miss things like this because they are theological idiots.
The last two verses of Psalm 22, I think, are amazing. For it says, "You will be told to a nation unyet born, those who are unborn, of what you have done, and it is finished." That's how it ends. Actually, let me look that up because it's a beautiful quote.
Well, it talks about the process of the crucifixion in Psalm 22. But the point I'm trying to make, and I appreciate you doing that, Red. When you get it, let me know. Is that when you start making these applications, is the Injeel, that Jesus was given a different gospel, and all these other verses that they completely screw up and put some type of Islamic twist on. They forget the Old Testament prophesying of all of these events to happen. And as we saw tonight, when we're looking at some of these verses from the Quran, it's saying it came to confirm the Torah and the Injeel, and how the Injeel confirms the Torah. And if the Quran has come to confirm the Torah and the Injeel, it does a terrible job, because it contradicts it everywhere. And what's the excuse? Well, it's been corrupted. So where has it been corrupted to the point where the Quran is true and we can't trust the Gospels, the New Testament or the Old Testament? You can't. When you get in an argument like that and you press them on it, you'll see. And here's Aladdin again. Idiot is your weak. What is this?
Brother Eric.
Hold on, just a second. I'll get to you just a second. Idiot is your weak God. They spit at, killed in filthy, barbaric way on the cross. I don't join you because of your filthy, dirty mouth. No wonder you kicked out as a teacher. Wow. Okay, so
what a class act.
I don't. Sure. I mean, okay. I got a filthy mouth. I'm saying that your Quran is wrong. If you have, all I want you to do, Aladdin, we won't have to. Just come in and show me, where can I find this Injeel? Where can I find somebody referencing this Injeel prior to 632? I just come on. And the idea that I was kicked out as a teacher, dude. I retired. Anyway, and
I found it.
Okay, go ahead, Brad.
Yes. Eric retired. That's kind of funny. But okay, so the last few verses. So one thing you gotta understand. So yes, it is talking about the crucifixion, but it interacts. It kind of changes when it's talking about a human being on the cross, but then it interacts and it switches out, Lord for the person. You know what I mean? It's just a really in-depth. Anthony Rogers is a great study on it with how the Hebrew goes, because the two individuals, we shall say, the Lord God and the person on the cross, kind of switch places. They switch roles throughout the psalm. It's subtle for it, but here we have in verse 27. All the ends of the earth shall remember and turn to the Lord. Again, who is the Lord? The psalm actually identifies the person doing the suffering. And all the families and all the nations shall worship before you. For kingships belong to the Lord, and he rules over the nations. And here we go, verse 29. All the prosperous of the earth, each and worship before him, shall bow down, all who will go down to the dust, and even the one who could not keep himself alive. Okay, so now it's switching. He's going to worship the Lord, the one who cannot keep himself alive. Prosperity shall, there's the switch. Prosperity shall serve him. Who is he going to serve? The one who could not keep himself alive. Okay? It shall be told of the Lord. Again, see how it switches out? It's going from the one who cannot keep himself alive, that's the one on the cross, the sufferer. And now it's that prosperity shall serve him, that person. And now it's switching out to, it shall be told of the Lord to the coming generations. They shall come and proclaim his righteousness to a people yet unborn, that he, who is he? The one who could not keep himself alive, the one that was suffering on the cross, the one who's the Lord, that prosperity shall serve. Okay, do you see how it interacts, how it changes out? Mm-hmm. That he has done it. And what does Jesus say after he says, my God, why have you forsaken me? He then later says, it is finished. Yeah. It is done. So
Amen.
here he is. He sandwiches this psalm through his suffering and his proclamation of who he is. And that's the beauty of it. And Muslims cannot get that because they are illiterate to the Bible. But you know who did get that? The first century pious religious Jews, the Sadducees and the Pharisees, who knew this psalm. They understood what was going on. And they understood exactly what he was saying. And with that, I'm off the mic.
Okay, I know either Nico's got something that he wants to show, and I think Great Commission did, but I just want to address this comment here. You should learn how to speak with respect. All you do is insult my prophet and Islam. Okay, so I want to show you a verse. And you tell me how much respect I should have for your Allah, for your prophet for regurgitating this, and for your Quran that actually says this. You tell me how much respect I should show anyone who says this. This is Quran 65:4, buddy, right here. And those who know, this is about divorcing. This is about divorce. What to do with women you divorce. Well, it says, and those who no longer expect menstruation among your women, if you doubt, their period is 3 months. And for those who have not menstruated. So these are prepubescent little girls that you can marry, consummate a marriage, and divorce them. This is in your Quran. This is according to your Allah. This is according to your religion. So when you tell me that I do not need to insult your prophet, or I need to show some type of respect to your prophet or to your Allah, explain that one to me. Your Allah is sick, if that is the case. Also, it says right here, I am the worst.
Brother, I can't hear you.
No, I can. Can you guys hear me? You guys should be able to hear me. I didn't change anything.
You're all set.
I
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay, right here will be the people of the book. Who are the people of the book? Jews and Christians. Christians. What are we? We're the worst of creatures, don't you see? What else does your book and your religion teach that I need to respect? Oh, let's go down here to my favorite, right here, 9. Let's go to verse 29. Right here, 9:29. Fight those who do not believe in Allah or the last day, or do not consider lawful Allah and his messenger. I do not consider Allah or Muhammad lawful. So therefore, you were commanded to what? Me fight. And if I decide, well, I don't want to fight you, then I have to pay you a tax. Am I supposed to respect that, Sir Aladdin? What about this other one over here? Here's a good one. Chapter 5. Let's go over here to verse 33, I think it is. 33. Those who wage war against Allah and his messenger. Now, that's not even and strive. No. Reward those who wage war on and his messenger and strive after corruption in the land. Look at there. Corruption in the land. What are you supposed to do to me, Aladdin? Well, you're supposed to crucify me. Kill me or crucify me. Or maybe cut off my hands and feet. Cut off. What is that? So when you start saying that I need to show some respect, I need to speak with respect about Islam, about Allah, about your Muhammad, you're going to have to show me why. Now, if you want to come up here and argue theological premises that we are talking about this evening, you come on, let's go. But if you want to sit there and act like a little quisling and run away because, oh, you don't respect me, you don't respect my Muhammad, I have zero. Make sure you understand that. I have zero respect for Muhammad. I have zero respect for your Allah. Why? Because that crap is in your Quran. All right, who was first? Nico. What were you going to? Nico, you're going to show something on the screen.
Well, actually, this was from Elizabeth Victoria, and yeah, it's a not quite as strong argument as anything you've already presented, but since it is technically academic or from scholars, let's say, and undoubtedly they are Muslim, I figured it'd be worth sharing. It's a encyclopedia entry, the Islamic glossary and explanation of names, terms, and symbols. Can you guys see the entry there on the Injeel?
Where are you talking about?
Oh, I'm doing a share. Let me see if I can. Oh, there.
No, there we are. Okay, here we go. Yep. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, there it is in black and white from what's arguably scholars and people who put together and the encyclopedia should technically be a scholar, and undoubtedly they are Muslim. And there you go. Injeel is the New Testament. Case closed.
Yep, there you go. That I should have just shown that right at the beginning of the show, and we would have been done. What the heck didn't I do that? Okay, look at what else we got going on here. According to the Bible, so here's. Boy,
oh my God! Okay. Can I address this, Eric? Can I address this?
Let me just say this. By doing this, look at what he's trying to do. He's trying to reduce Isaac to as big as a reprobate as Muhammad was by saying, look what Isaac did. He took Rebecca. If you read the verses in the story in Genesis, this is BS. And he knows it. He's been shown this, I'm sure, dozens of times, but he still keeps posting it, hoping people will believe him. But what he's trying to do is saying, look, you have people that in the Bible that are just as big as pieces of garbage as Muhammad was. That's essentially what he's saying. You might as well just say it that way. That's what he's trying to do. Look what Isaac did to Rebecca. She was only 3 years old. That's gross. Well, if that was true, that would be gross. This is absolutely true. It's not true, but if it was true, it would be gross. But the only reason why you're posting that is because you're trying to legitimize what Muhammad did to little Aisha when she was 9 and he was 54. That's gross. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to make biblical characters as pathetic as what the things that Muhammad did, and it's just not gonna work.
Well, take a look at this. Take a look at this. Okay, so it says according to the Bible, Rebecca was 3 years old when she got married to Isaac. Where does he get that? Not from the Bible. He gets it from Rabbi Rashi, said in his interpretation,
right,
commentary of Genesis 25:20. So the Bible doesn't say it. Rashi says it. And here's the funny thing. Actually, there are Jews, the Chabadniks, actually believe this because they believe all things Rashi. But Rashi's own son, who is a renowned rabbi himself, totally disagreed with this interpretation. Secondly, let's take a look at this. A 3-year-old girl is watering camels or horses. I forgot what it was. What was she getting from the water sheep? She was watering the livestock.
No, she's watering. No, Rat. She's watering a herd of flipping camels. And
okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll find it. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna find it.
But either way, a 3-year-old girl is lifting a bucket full of water from a well and dragging that bucket and bringing enough of it to do enough to water a herd of livestock animals. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense in any world. But notice here's what he has to do. He has to go to an interpretation by some rabbi in the 11th or 12th century, right, to come to this conclusion. Do we have to go to some later 11th century after Muhammad Mufti to come to the conclusion that Aisha was 9 years old? No, Aisha herself said. But what does Aisha herself say?
No, Aisha. How old was Joseph? How old was Joseph? Oh, how old was Joseph? How old? That wasn't exactly a clever move, mate, was it?
It was a very clever move.
You really think so?
It was the perfect move.
You know, it's people like
Everybody
you.
Everybody
It's people like you.
No,
Aisha. How old was Joseph? How old was Joseph?
Oh,
how old?
How old was Joseph?
I thought I could find a shorter one, but she was 9 years old. That's what Aisha says. Go ahead, Eric.
Genesis 24.
We got an echo. Somebody's echoing.
He's got a hot mic.
We got an echo. Somebody's echoing.
Is it phone or
He's got a hot mic.
Okay, so it's a kind of
It's Isa. There we go. It was Isa. I'm sorry, I muted a bunch of other people. Okay, so look at here. It says this is the story about going to get a wife. Let's see, a wife for his son. Isaac. If the woman's not willing to follow, then you will be free from this oath of mine. Okay, okay. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels, 10 camels, right there, 10 camels, and departed and went to Mesopotamia. And he made the camels kneel down outside the city, the well of water at the time of the evening. So this is a time where you have the camels drink, because why? They've been in a flipping desert all day and they need a little moisture. And that time women went out to draw water. This is the time when women, who went out to draw water? 3-year-old little girls went out to draw water at this time of day, don't you see? No, women went out to draw water. And he said, "O Lord, please make such a day. And behold, I am standing by the spring of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water." Now it says young women, not young girls, young women. It says young women, to whom shall I say? And drink. And it says, okay, by this I shall know before his father speaking. Watch this. Behold, Rebecca, who was born to Bethuel only 3 years ago. Or no, it doesn't say that. I'm sorry. Let's see, came out with her water jar on her shoulder. The young 3-year-old little girl, nope, it says the young woman was very attractive. She was a maiden. What is a maiden? A woman of marriageable age. That is what a woman is. That's what a woman is, Adadine. And it's not some 9-year-old prepubescent little girl. I can tell you that. She went down to the spring and filled her jar and came up. Then the servant ran to meet her. "Please give me a little water from your jar." She said, "Drink." And she quickly let down her jar and hand and gave him a drink. When she finished, watch what she does. "I will draw water for your 10 camels until they have finished drinking." So she quickly emptied her jar and ran to the well to draw water. Hold on. For how many of his camels? All of his camels. Now, this itself would be a miracle, divine intervention, if she was 3 years old, but it's not. So when you try to insert this, the reprobation of Muhammad, trying to defend his reprobate actions, that you say that I have a filthy mouth because all I do is insult. I don't insult Muhammad. What I do is I quote your Hadith literature. That's all I do. And I draw conclusions from that. If you're 54 years old and you marry a 9-year-old prepubescent little girl and you consummate that marriage, what would you call somebody who does that then, Aladdin? What do you call somebody who does that? And yet you're going to try to make Isaac, the son of Abraham, the legitimate son of Abraham, the one whose the covenant was passed through, you're going to try to relegate him to some type of pedophile, some type of scumbag. You're going to have to try a lot harder. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but you're going to have to try a lot harder than that. And if you are offended by that, then that's. He does. Look what he's trying to do. It's a filthy book. The Song of Solomon's a filthy book. I thought that's what we found. We find Muhammad in Song of Solomon was a 5:16 in that filthy book, the Song of Solomon. It's a love letter between a man and a woman. If you think it's filthy, a man and a woman telling each other how much they love each other, how appreciative they are of each other. If you think that is filthy, then I think that maybe you ought to relook your own marriage, and because when I talk to my wife and tell her how much I love her and how attracted to her I am, yeah.
So,
I think that's dirty little mind.
Muslims claim the Song of Solomon is a book of porn, but that's also where their prophet is found. Yeah.
The Song of Solomon is what?
Well, Muslims they claim that the Song of Songs, or the Book of Solomon, is a book of porn, Bible porn. But then they also claim that Muhammad is found in this book of Bible porn. So
I know that doesn't make any sense, does it?
So a question about this, a Muslim told me, he's like, well, if you watch a porn movie, not all of it's sex, some of it's just talking. So the talking part of the porn movie, that's where Muhammad is. Like,
Let him kiss me with kisses of his mouth. Oh my goodness, a wife should not say that to a husband. That's pornographic. For your love is better than wine. Your anointing oils are fragrant. Your name is oil. Boy, this is, therefore virgins love you. Draw me after you. Let us love you. I know, this is so hideous. Close your ears. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Here we go again. Here's another one. Here we go. Look at Aladdin. Look at this guy's having a ball here. When Joseph marries Mary, he was 90 and she was 12. Okay, a couple things about that. There is nothing in Scripture that says that Joseph was 90 and Mary was 12. I know where you get this from, and I could care less.
Talmud, probably, something like that.
And the Jews are not the friendliest sources when you start talking about Jesus and his lineage. But anyway, again, why would he put this in? Why would he write this? Why would he post this in?
Sorry, that was Isaac. That's Isaac. I'm sorry, it's not this one. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just trying to use. It's an age. They just have the ages there. It's not accurate.
This is from Catholic, later Catholic sources, and it's a minor opinion from what I'm told. In Catholic sources, it's like really not even acknowledged, but it is in some of the Latin Catholic. I don't know, what would you call it? Discourses. You can trace it back to a single person. It's probably late 5th or 6th century stuff. Okay. But either way, no.
Catholic encyclopedia, not Catholic.
With this idea of the perpetual virginity of Mary, also.
Yeah, that's where this kind of comes from. Okay.
Yeah.
But either way, no. Mary would have been 14. She would have been young because she was a maiden. And let's face it, in that day and age, if you got to the ripe old age of 16, you was an old maid. You know what I mean? No, seriously. Okay. And that's
I actually want. Rod, do you mind if I challenge Aladdin here? Aladdin attacked me again. He seems to like to attack me a lot for some reason. But Aladdin is attacking Judaism. He's attacking Christianity. He's throwing Jesus under the bus. Isa alayhi salam, he's throwing him under the bus. He's throwing the prophets under the bus because he wants to take the position of tahrif. But in reality, I'm not insulting any prophets. But he is. He just made an insult right here. I'm like, I'm not making any insults here, but you insulted the books, which is a part of Iman. So Aladdin, I think maybe you should check your theology before you start trying to come at people's necks, brother.
What is the verse that he quotes here? Let's see here. And it has already come down to you in the book that when you hear the verses of Allah, they are denied by them and ridiculed. So do not sit with them until they enter into another conversation. Indeed, you would be.
Aladdin is with us too.
Indeed,
Aladdin is with us here too. So in reality, if he's doing it, we're all sitting together, Aladdin. You're listening too, brother. So if you think that this is insulting, we're all together. We're all in fellowship. You're just not on the panel. You're doing the same thing too, brother. You're listening also.
The thing is that he's afraid to come up on the panel. That's the thing. You know, when you're a coward, this is what you do. You sit there and throw stones, from across the street saying, I'm tougher than you. And then when you walk across the street, they run away. And this is what we've done with Mr. Aladdin. Now, the topic tonight, Aladdin, if you still want to come up here and show us how ignorant we are, I want you to come up in here. And because I remember when we were talking about I think we were talking about the gospel. We were talking something about the gospels. You came on one night and you kept referring to the Injeel, saying, well, that's not what the Injeel says this, the Injeel says that. And you never really get around to telling us where we can find this proof of the Injeel. And not as a filthy, what the heck is this? You're a cow. You're just this is not as a filthy Christian as your Bible. I will join. Look, you're a coward. Let's just make sure we understand that. I think that you are a coward and that you are afraid that when if you do come up here and I start asking you these tough questions about the Injeel, you are going to run because you do not have the answers. Muslims do not have the answers to this fairy tale given to Jesus by a pink unicorn called the Injeel. It doesn't exist. And Nico just showed you what website was that? That was something.
That was encyclopedia reference, Islamic encyclopedia that Elizabeth Victoria.
So it's the New Testament is what we have today, which predates Islam by the Vaticanus by 3 centuries. So please, go ahead.
Okay, I've got a question. What's his point in showing or trying to prove that there's like pedophilia in the Old Testament, which obviously is a lie. You disproved that. But what's his point? Is he trying to be an apologist for pedophilia or what? Like, is that what he's doing?
No, what he's trying. Okay, when we talk about Muhammad and you say, okay, well, Muhammad did this, and people even go, ooh, he did what? He married a 9-year-old, or he consummated a marriage with a 9-year-old girl when he was 54. What is your comeback? What can you say? What can you do about that? Well, you're going to have to go, okay, well, you have to normalize somehow that type of, reprehensible behavior. So what do? You try to say, okay, well, Isaac or Rebecca was only 3 years old. And this comes from, I don't know, wherever the heck he digs this up at. But if you go to the text, he's not right. I mean, it's clearly incorrect. Or you say that Mary was 12 years old and Joseph was this 90-year-old scumbag on his deathbed. Well, you go to scripture and there's nothing in there. As a matter of fact, if that's true, if Joseph is 90 years old, how is he traveling to Bethlehem, all that distance with Mary, taking care of Mary? How is he able to do that if he's that old? What he's trying to do is he's trying to justify the actions of Muhammad by saying, look, I know it looks bad, but look what they did in the Bible too. They have and another one that they pull up is Lot. Lot is supposed to be some type of prophet, according to Islam, even though we don't know anything that he prophesied about. Look what he did. He had sex with his daughter. So therefore, since Lot in Genesis, when he's fleeing Sodom and Gomorrah, gets drunk and has sex with his daughter, so therefore the Bible is condoning incest. So this is what they do. This is what him and his ilk do. Instead of trying to stay on topic, and the topic is the non-existence of the Injeel, and we proved that without a shadow of a doubt that the Injeel this Injeel that they say that existed no longer, that Jesus had at the time, and that no longer exists, is bunk. It is complete bunk, and he has no proof, no evidence to demonstrate the veracity of his point. None. Zero. Zippo. Zilch. This would probably be a little voodoo on your mouth, I would hope. But anyway. All right. Does anybody have anything else that they want to get said tonight, they want to do? It's 5 after 7. I'm going to tell you, January, February, March, April, probably the second week of April, what we're going to do is we're going to return to the 5 o'clock time period, because that's when this Good News Club that I do at the elementary school is over for the year, and we can return back to the schedule. What is this? Numbers. This say marry kids, but all young girls who have not known a man. Okay, again, this is not true. This is again. This is about. What was this? This was about taking captives of war. Now, unlike Muslims, when you take a captive of war, what are you allowed to do? You're allowed to rape them because your right hand possesses them. But this is something different. Let's take a look at what he has to say here. 31. Vengeance, yeah. And this is where you take a girl into your house if her family is killed in war. And what is this? 18. But the young girls who have not known a man. Let me put it up here on the screen. Let's see here. Encampment. But all young girls who have not known man, by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. Okay, number one, you have to understand, again, this is the theological retardation of Islamic apologists. You have to understand that this tribe, who were they attacking here? What was this? This the Midianites. Okay, the Midianites were having their women sleep with Jewish men to lure them into sexual sin. And so when they went to attack the Midianites, they were given the command to kill all the women that had lain with a man. That includes the women who were sleeping with the Jewish men. And the young girls, they were to keep to their families, or they were to keep them as, let's see, they were, because I heard you always want to say they kept them as slaves, and this is not true. The priest said the men go into the army, had gone, this is a statute of law. There's something here, take account of the plunder, both man and beast. Okay. It's here where it says that you are to bring them in as part of your house, and if they say no, then you are to allow them to go, is basically what it says. I'll have to find it. I'll have to find it. But the bottom line is, here's the bottom line. In this passage, you provide a family for the girls who were taken captive. You shave their head. You're supposed to shave their head or something like that and trim their nails or whatever. And then when their hair grows out, they can either say, okay, I will stay with you and become your wife, or I will leave. You give them that choice. Unlike Muslims, where you attack a village and you kill all the men and you take the women, and now that your right hand possesses those women, that woman is your sex slave. Big difference. But since you want to try to somehow make what the ancient Israelites did equal to what Muslims did at that time and do now, oh, by the way, you only just show the depravity of that. Do I have that right, guys? Do you guys know what I'm talking about here? Did I describe that correctly?
What's that? Describe what? Sorry, I had to help out with some situations.
No, I was describing what happened to the women that are taken in war in the book of Numbers, where you, if they haven't lied with a man, let's see, keep alive for yourselves.
Oh, so yeah, so okay, so on that, there's a couple of passages with this. Okay, well, it's not just in Numbers; it's in Deuteronomy, but it establishes an ethical code. Okay, for the women who, remember, they had defiled the Israelites. They had used their women to tempt them to go away and worship.
Right, I said that part, right?
Okay, yeah. Yes, okay. Well, here we have an ethical standard. Okay. If the woman is a virgin and who's not been married, not been given to another man, not been defiled, you may take them and make them your wives if they so are desirable to you as a captive. Okay. Now there is a mourning period. Okay. This is not in Numbers. I think it's in Deuteronomy. So again, we got to combine multiple verses, multiple passages here to get to the truth, or to get to what is going on here. Okay. So you can take these women as captives. And if they become desirable, so the passage says, you may marry them. But they are to put away their clothes. They are to put on sackcloth.
Whoa, hold on a second. Whoa, stop. You're to marry them, or just kept them as a sex slave?
No, you are to marry them.
Oh, so you're to make them your wife. It's not just a sex slave, like your right hand.
Right. So they will become full wives in the house of Israel. Okay. All right. Not only that, but they're to give it a mourning period of 30 days. They're to put on sackcloth. I believe it actually says sackcloth. Basically, sackcloth and ashes. They're to mourn. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay, doing public mourning for their brothers and their fathers that were slain, and their family that was slain that they're now leaving behind. Okay. They're allowed to mourn this for 30 days. They're to cut their hair and their fingernails. In other words, they're to make themselves unattractive now. Okay, for this 30-day period, because they're coming from death to life. Okay, when they're to marry the Israelis, but it says very clearly after this, it says, and if you later become displeased with them, you are not to sell them into slavery because you have disgraced them. Instead, you are to divorce them, give them the writ of divorce, and let them go. Let them go. In other words, they now become free women if the man decides to divorce them. It doesn't say you can sell them black into slavery, but which is what Islam teaches. You can just trade them off and sell them to a different slave owner. You know what I mean? Pimping is easy in Islam. No, this is a definite ritual. This is a definite thing that is made for a certain purpose and for a certain reason. And again, it is limited to a specific people in a specific geographical region. It is not universal for mankind. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is not something to be instituted.
Descriptive, not prescriptive. Got it.
Exactly. Okay. But either way, it is a beautiful thing, and it is totally opposite of what Islam teaches when it comes to taking captive women. And that's all I want to say now.
Okay. So go ahead.
Yeah, question about the period for mourning. So there's in there a waiting period with the right hand possessions and like divorcing them?
No. You can rape them on the spot, even if their husbands are still alive.
And
because
watching.
Taking them captive, you have nullified their marriage. They're automatically divorced.
They actually, the companions of the prophet complained, we're going to castrate ourselves because we cannot sleep with these women because their husbands are still alive. And the prophet said, why? Their marriages divorced. Go ahead, have at it with them. Literally, I'm not making that up. That's what the Hadith says. That's what the ruling says.
So what if they're captives? Sorry.
But no, go ahead.
No, what if their captives get tired of them? They don't want them anymore. So can
they sell them to somebody else?
Trade them for a camel or two.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Is there a waiting period for that?
No.
Nope.
Well, no. Okay. Well, I'm not sure if there's an iddah for. I would have to look. I'm not sure if there's an iddah for a slave girl, because the iddah is 3 months. You have to wait 3 months to make sure that they're not pregnant. So there might be an iddah for that. I don't know, but that would be the only reason. I mean, Muhammad.
I doubt it.
Muhammad killed the husband of some lady, and then that same night, Sophia, yeah, and then married her, and then had sex with her the same night that he killed her husband. There's no waiting period there. There's no mourning period there. It's just, when you get people like this Aladdin here coming onto the show and trying to equate, saying it. Let's see. What is he saying? I challenge you, amplified by. I did put it up there, buddy. I ain't afraid of it. I am afraid of anything that my Bible says, because when you try to take things out of context or try to distort things in order to justify the reprehensible behavior of your prophet and his Sahaba, it only exposes you in your dark heart. It's evil, is what it is. When you try to justify evil, and by distorting sacred scripture. It just makes you look like a joke and the coward that you are. Again, that link to come up on the show is open. I'm going to give you a minute to click on it. If not, well, then we're gonna end the broadcast because I'm hungry. And let's see, my Christmas gifts for you is Ezekiel. What is this? Ezekiel 23. Oh boy, is this another? We're gonna defile. Ezra. Where are we at? Ezekiel. There we are. Ezekiel 23.
I thought they loved what they call Isa. I mean, so but here is with the comment. It seems like he's mocking Christmas. Aladdin here says, "My Christmas gift for you." Like he's kind of mocking Christmas here, and so on.
Well, he is. Look what this says. Look what this verse says. This verse. Whoops. I don't have the right one on here. Let me. Oh, let's see here. This verse says this verse. What do you say? Ezekiel 23:20. She lusted after her lovers, whose flesh is like the flesh of donkeys, whose discharge is like the discharge of horses. Yes, that's his Christmas gift for somebody, and he has the audacity to tell us that we are. What's the word he used here? What is the word? A challenge. No, where was it? No, come on. Dominic. Oh, he likes Dominic. Dominic, you're being nice to him. I'm impressed. Way to go. Dominic doesn't come up on the show very much. He sits here in the chat and plays around. I would prefer him, but he always has connection problems. Where did he go?
It's like 2:00 in the morning in the UK.
I know. I'm asking too much here.
He needs to immigrate to the United States now.
Filthy Christian lie about Prophet Muhammad. Name one lie that we said about Muhammad tonight. Name one, just one. I promise you can't. And we are insulting the prophet. No, we're just saying what your prophet did. If that is insulting because you have a higher sense of morality than your prophet, then so be it. Low-level, filthy mouth Christian like you are not ashamed of yourself. No wonder they kicked you. Oh, that we already read that. All right, never mind. Okay, folks, thank you for coming to the show. The Great Commission, thank you for coming. I appreciate you coming. You're welcome anytime that you want to come. If you want,
Yeah, you were talking to yourself there, Eric. That was weird.
Really? All right. The Great Commission guy said something I did not understand. It was like you were talking in a garbage can or something. If you want to get a link for each show, I usually post it.
I was going to say thank you for having me on, and maybe some other time I could come on again. I would appreciate that. And,
yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and I tell you what, send me your email address. Absolutely. Go ahead and I tell you what, send me your email address.
Okay.
Absolutely. Go ahead and I tell you what, send me your email.
I'm getting echo, but I don't know how to fix it.
I'm thinking that's
Mute yourself.
I'm getting echo.
Hold on, let me
I don't know how to fix it.
There we go. Yeah, it was echoing through TGC's. There we go. Yeah, it was echoing through TGC's. Yep. Okay. There's my email address in the chat.
Yeah,
Eric,
you're still doing it, I think.
Yep. Okay. There's my email address in the. Okay, I'm getting an echo from you. There's my email in the chat. Go ahead and shoot me your email, and then we'll get you on Facebook. There's my email in the chat. Go ahead and shoot me your email, and then we'll get you on notified weekly when the show.
Hey, can you mute him again, please? Hey, TGC, don't unmute yourself, dude, because we're just receiving massive echo.
I muted him because I'm getting that feedback.
Okay, yeah. But either way, don't unmute yourself because it's massive feedback. It's
and
having a conversation with himself.
Dominic's saying it's 1:20 in the morning here. Well, what are you doing up so late, dude? I don't understand this. I mean, does he got like a job that requires him to work this late, or?
He's young. Remember when you was 20, you could stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning.
I think we need to teach Aladdin English. He spelled pagans with an E. I think Aladdin needs an English an English class. We can help him with that. Eric, you and I are teachers. We can help Aladdin learn English. We'll teach him English.
I could, because his character. No. Right. No, and no. I was not kicked out as a teacher anywhere, dude. As a matter of fact, my principal practically begged me to stay and not retire. So I don't know where you're getting this. Well, he's probably getting it from some of our other.
The funniest part about this. Wait, hold on, Eric. The funniest part about because it's the end of the year now, so we got to reflect a little bit. End of the year, the whole thing of what happened.
I would love to teach you Aladdin. I know, even if it's your fourth language, we can make it your first. Language, little boy, defend. I mean, we could work on these words. We could work on teaching English.
But here's the deal with Eric. Just to let you know, as someone who has been there from the beginning of this saga. And okay. Eric was not fired. He did not have to resign in disgrace. He was not driven out. What is funny? What is the funniest thing is that the demands that were made by the lunatic nutcase, certified lunatic. Okay.
You're right. He is a certifiable. Yeah.
Certified lunatic. Yeah.
Okay. True. Yeah.
And his Muslim cadre back in 2023, wasn't it, Eric? Was it 2012? When did your wife run the Chicago Marathon?
Oh, I can't remember. 22, I think.
Oh yeah, way back in 2022.
Yeah.
Eric gave up the show. He signed it over to me in a subway in downtown Chicago during the Chicago Marathon. We have pictures of it, don't we, Eric? We have video of it. Okay? He signed it over. We took it down. We made all the videos private. But they kept making more and more demands. Oh, you must delete all the videos. It is not enough. It is not enough. We are still going to do this. We're coming with the Muslim army. We're coming with the jihadis. We're doing all this. We're going to protest the school, dude. And this went on for 2 months, dude. From October. It wasn't until January 23. Finally, Eric said, enough. I don't care. I've already told my principal. I've already told the superintendent. He talked to the lawyers. Right? Okay? All the stuff. Okay? Showed him all the evidence of all the harassment and online bullying. And he finally said, fine, I'm just going to do the show no matter what. In other words, you dumbasses had won. Eric was no longer going to do the show. The show was done. It was gone. It was over with. And the only reason we're doing the show now, well, actually, Eric retired, although he's more busier now than he was when he was retired. That's beside the point, okay? Is out of spite. It's out of spite. Am I right, Eric?
A large part of it is.
Yeah, it's out of spite.
Because what we were told that I needed to stop doing the show and I needed to delete the channel completely. Or the harassment, the reporting to the school board, to the my principal. And as you know, my principal was apologetic to me because there's a notification process that's involved in all of this. It said that there has been a complaint made to you down at the down central office in the district that you have done X, Y, and Z, and I am sorry that I got to tell you this because they understood, not only the principal but the people down in the central office understood what a bunch of crap this was. So this thing that Aladdin is saying that I was kicked out as a teacher is nothing but a lie. It really is. And everybody that I worked with recognized that, and they were apologetic for it. Completely unlike what he's describing there. They practically begged me to stay, but when I told them that I was retiring, I was like, "Can't you just stay one more year?" And then, I turned 60. I can get full retirement as a teacher at age 60, and I took it, and now I'm,
Eric, I want to speak on your behalf, if it's okay. So Al-Adin is saying that your manners online are bad. I didn't see anything like that. You've been one that, as a Christian apologist, you're extremely decent. You're extremely noble. And you know what? You have opinions on Islam. The thing is, he keeps saying, I need to defend. I don't have to defend anything. If something is true and good, then it's true and good, whether I say it's true or good or not. That's a problem that I don't think he completely understands. But the point is, you've been very noble. You've been very fair. You've let many people come on the panel, but you're a Christian. You have a Christian beliefs, and that's the way it is. And it's not like Al-Adin is saying horrible. He just said horrible things about Christianity. Is he going to hold himself to the same standard that he's holding you to? If you're saying horrible things, so is he. He just said that someone was 90 years old and someone was 12. I mean, if he's attacking the scriptures and texts, it's hypocrisy. The attack that he's putting on you is the same attack that can be lodged against him. It's dishonest. And this is my problem when I come into these apologetic spaces. I hear a lot of inconsistency. So if you want to be noble and good, then be consistent across the board. So.
Well, I appreciate that, Isa. I truly do.
What's the funny part? I am the most offensive anti-Islam, total 100% Islamophobe there is, and for some bizarre reason, they never attack me the way they attack Eric. Eric has to calm me down. Eric has to tell me, no, we're not saying that. No, we're you know what I mean? Okay. I mean,
this is what they do. They lie. Look what he says here. They fired you because of the way you act online. Okay.
no.
Again, no, that's okay. Prove it. You know what you all my personal information is out there. I've been doxxed. And all you have to do is go ahead and do a search in the state in which I live, go to the Board of Education. And if there is if there was a complaint that was filed against me that resulted in my termination as a teacher, that would come up on my license, which is public information. All you have to do is get it. And then what I would ask you to do is post it all over the internet. Post it everywhere. Let everybody in the entire world know that I was fired as an educator in this state. I was fired as an educator because of, what did you say? It was because of the way I act online.
Uh-oh. Al-Adin has joined.
Well, has it? Okay.
I don't see him.
Look, there he is.
That's a sinister laugh if I've ever heard one.
No, good morning, everybody. First of all, Mr. DGC, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, we can hear you.
No, I'm Mr. DGC, and the other person on the live chat, Demon something. I would like to apologize to both of you if I offended you in any way. I do really apologize. Usually, this is not the way I deal with people. I only give them what they are. I deal with them the same way they deal with me, which I do not like. Believe me, I hate that. But they deserve to be treated the same way they treat others. Do to others like others do unto you. So for those,
wait. He invited you. Wait. He invited you.
Let me, please, just relax.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
You'll have all right to speak, please. So I just came to apologize to Mr. TGC or TCG and the other person on live chat. My deepest apology, honestly, to both of you. I do apologize. As a Muslim, I was not supposed to act this way, but I was dealing with them the same way they are dealing with me. I was using the same word, actually, that they were using against my prophet and my God. So therefore, I was dealing with them this way. This is the only reason that I came live, just to apologize to you, believe me. What I have done a while ago, that's not Islamic. That's my own way, but not in Islam. It's not an Islamic. I hope that you understand. Now let me go back to Isa. Isa, wallahi, I don't mean to insult you, but wallahi al-azim, you are so ignorant. You have no knowledge whatsoever, wallah, about Islam. No.
Okay, the topic is the Injeel.
So where am I ignorant? Where exactly am I ignorant? I'm just curious.
I will correct you.
The topic is the Injeel. Let's talk about the Injeel. Let's go.
I'm coming to it.
Well, let's get to it.
First of all, Isa, let me correct Isa, please.
Quit insulting people. Let's get to the topic, the Injeel. Where is the evidence for
I'm coming to it. Just
evidence for the Injeel, please. Please.
Eric,
Get to it. Let's get to it.
Mute me one more time and I'm out. You're begging me to join you.
Evidence.
And you send me by Skype to join
you. You're boring. Let's go.
If you mute me again, I'm out. Stop muting me and listen and learn. You just text me by Skype begging me to join you. So therefore I join you. It's my Skype until now. So
I told you to join to talk about.
Yes, relax. I'm talking. Relax. I will answer all points that you brought up. If you mute me one more time, I'm out.
I'm not muting you.
I will speak with respect.
Talk about the Injeel. Where is the evidence for the Injeel?
I'm coming to the old
points. You're getting to it now. Let's go.
Stop and relax. You talk too much. I will explain to you maktuban, which you explained out of ignorance because of your lack of knowledge in Arabic. I'll explain to you what is Injeel because you explain it out of ignorance because of your lack of knowledge in Arabic. And I will explain to Isa what is Hadith Qudsi.
In Italian, but
let me finish, please. And I will explain to Isa in 1 minute what is Hadith Qudsi, which he doesn't know.
I want to know about the Injeel. Nobody cares.
I will come to it. I told you.
No. If you want to talk about Hadith Qudsi, come to next week's show because that's what it's going to be.
I will not talk about Hadith Qudsi. I will give him the definition of Hadith Qudsi, which he misquoted. To show him that he was wrong. The word Qudsi, Isa, is derived from the root word Quds. The sacred Hadith, Hadith Qudsi, are those that Prophet Muhammad narrates from Allah. They are called Hadith Qudsi, meaning holy and pure, because they are from the words of Allah and they are like the Quran, but they are not in the level of the Holy Quran. And the number of Hadith Qudsi are 483. And one of the most popular books about this is the book of Dr. Umar Ali Abdullah Muhammad under the title of Al-Ahadith Al-Qudsiyya Jam'an wa Dirasa. This is for you. Now you came to the word Maktuban and you quote from the Holy Quran out of ignorance and lack of knowledge, Surah Al-A'raf, chapter 7, verse 157, where Allah said, الذين يتبعون الرسول النبي الأمي الذي يجدونه مكتوبا عندهم في التوراة والإنجيل. Those who follow the messenger, Prophet Muhammad, the illiterate prophet, whom they find written in what they have of the Torah and Injeel. Now listen.
Doesn't say what they have. Does not say what they have.
Don't teach me my Islam. Don't teach me.
Show me
my Islam.
You have to tell the truth. You have to.
No. I'm answering you. By the way, I don't need the English translation. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Well, Eric.
We need translation.
Hold on. Stop.
No, don't stop me. No, I will answer your question. I will answer your question. No. Let me finish.
I got it right here.
Let me finish, please. Let me finish, please. Don't interrupt me. Don't let me finish, please. Now, let me educate you here. Let me
mute him, Eric. Mute him.
Just relax. Why you are?
Here we are, right here. Written.
But you're ignorant and you insist you're ignorant than me. I'm out of here. No way. You won't let me speak.
Yes, it's passive participle.
Can I speak, please? Can you give me 2 minutes to explain to you this verse?
I'll give you a minute. You got 1 minute.
No. Don't give me a minute. Don't expect yourself to ask me a question in 10 seconds that I'll answer you in 1 minute.
Well, here's
your question. Answer is longer.
You misquoted the verse.
So no, I will not. You will never teach me my Quran.
No,
I am
right
reading
here.
the Arabic.
This is-
I
this
am
is-
reading.
this
I
is what
am
the
reading.
Arabic says, dude. It's right here. Those who follow the messenger of the prophet, the unlettered, whom they find him written. No, you relax, because if you're going to get in here and lie about this, and I
will count. I will count out to three.
show you
Up
where
to
you're
three.
a liar.
If you no, you and your God are liar, not me. So relax and let me answer you, please. Okay, just relax and learn. I'm trying to teach you Islam and Arabic.
All right, goodbye. I can't. I'm not going to deal with it. He can
Well,
go.
it was such great haya, such great modesty, adab and akhlaq.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Sorry.
And
you can only take so much of it. You really can. And Rad, I should have known that this is what you were going to get. You were going to get somebody to come in here and he was going to lie about what his Quran says and then pretend that everybody else can't catch him in that lie, when we can sit here and show him on the screen, it says written with them, and he wants to sit there and continue to lie.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. You got to mute him. You got to learn to do that. Mute your guest. Mute him. Okay.
Brad, I also wanted to push back on what he said. He said,
Right.
You cannot teach me about my Quran. You know that? Yani, you cannot teach me about my Quran. I said, okay. But then you're trying to teach people about what Catholic Encyclopedia says. Are you going to hold the same standard that you want to hold other people to in religion? Or you don't know Hebrew, you don't know Greek, you don't know the concordance and exegesis of Christianity, but you want to you read something online in a Catholic Encyclopedia, you don't know the context, you bring it up and act like you're an expert on Christianity, and then you get upset when people give an analysis about the Quran. I said, excuse you. Who are you to do that? It's such hypocrisy.
What? No, he would be a hypocrite. Or no, not Aladdin. I said, there's only you can only take so much of it. You really can. You can if you're gonna engage in the it takes him 10 minutes to get to the topic itself, and then when he finally gets to the topic, he starts lying about what the Quran says, and then claims.
That's why you got to mute him real quick. And you know what I'm saying? No, seriously. Okay, we need to talk about this later. Actually, I don't like this software because it doesn't give me the ability to mute people. That's beside the point. Anyway,
I think it's
but no.
Oh, sorry, please. One thing I wanted to share too.
Let's go ahead and mute East and see how it works there.
I'm so sorry, Rad. Just one thing I wanted to share too. Is that he's like, I am going to teach you about Quran. I am going to teach you Lughat al-Arabiya. I'm going to teach you these things because I have the knowledge. You don't know this, but I know this. I'm like, how are you coming smug and arrogant? Do you think that's a way to actually have dialogue? Or are you trying to alienate people? That is a tactic to alienate people and make people hostile to you. You could come with humility. You could come with adab. You could come with ahlak. He knows what these things are. You come with some good character, but he came with some attitude. I'm like, this is what happens. You came disrespectful, so what do you expect is going to happen?
Exactly. Anyway, I just wanted to finish up because this is our last broadcast before the end of the year. So I just wanted to conclude. Okay. The three stooges of Dawa who started this attack on Eric many, many moons ago to either get him fired from his teaching position or get him to stop the cross and the crescent discussion room. All of them are now debunked, and gone away. Kenny Bomer. Okay, well, we do have a proof of life from Kenny Bomer. Kenny Bomer did repost something on Twitter back in December, but that was the only thing he did. Something on trans stuff, which I fully support.
He's done a live. How long?
Huh?
I mean, he hasn't done a live.
He's done. Yeah, he's gone. The whole he was exposed as the racist he is. Well, yeah, he was exposed as the hateful racist that he is. But that's beside the point. You got Marshall. Hey, Issa, have you heard from Marshall?
I have not heard from Marshall. He
Yeah,
disappeared.
Marshall's either dead or in prison in Florida somewhere. Okay, and Charlie Chuckles. Yeah, he's certified lunatic now. But anyway,
what religion is he now?
Who knows, dude? He just knows. Seriously, it's whatever, dude. I don't know what color of the day. What letter does the day end on? You know what I mean? Okay. Anyway, but no, he is a certified lunatic. He's gone. Okay. So all of them have gone away, and they've been exposed by the Lord for who they are. And Eric did not get fired from teaching, retired with honors. And I hate him for it. And yeah. And because he made all the right decisions. And I made all the poor decisions, but that's beside the point. Anyway. Yeah. And he's still doing the show. And we need to make the show bigger and better for spite. You know, for only for that.
This is the year that I'm gonna try to focus more on growing the show. I've always been kind of passive about it because I just enjoy doing it. We have, I don't know how many subscribers do we have, like 900 and some now, or
do we really?
Yeah. Let me look just to give you a.
We gotta focus more on Rumble, to be honest with you, because Rumble actually does pay.
Well, we're getting 50, 60, 70 views, which is good for this show, you know, on Rumble each week, in addition to the number of views that we get on YouTube. So yeah, you're right. We need to focus on that, but I'm going to focus more on getting more subs on YouTube, more watch time, and doing a couple other things, I think. But the bottom line is that you're right. All three of these guys, you're supposed to pray for people even when it's hard, and I do. And each of those guys has problems, personal problems in their lives that that I personally don't have to. I thank God that I don't have to deal with them. And I think a lot of their anger and their desire to do the things that they did, to try to get me fired as an educator, is a result of those problems that they have, those personal problems and those psychological problems that they have in their own lives. And they were just, like you said, alluded to earlier, they were just they were projecting. They this is what Aladdin does. Is he was in a large sense just projecting. So next Monday, the new year, the Cross and the Crescent will be back, and we're probably going to talk about these Hadith Qudsi. How many did he say there were? He's like, there's 800.
There's 40. There's 40. I said it was 70. I made a mistake. It's the 40 Hadith.
But how many?
Like 100 to 200. There's a debate about that, but
no, he said there was a lot more than that. He said it was
40,000. He said.
Hadith altogether. There's 40,000 like Hadith altogether. There's so many Hadith.
No, he said that the Qudsi, he specifically said there was hundreds.
40,000. Yeah.
I don't think you could prove that.
I think I heard 800. But then again, I wear hearing aids. I don't hear as well as you guys do. I'll replay it.
It's debatable, but I don't think it's anywhere in that ballpark. And this is one of the questions about Hadith. If you have 40,000 Hadith in 20 years, I mean, that's wild. Do you have like 10, 20,000 sayings about you?
The Hadith are nothing but they're just mimicking what the Muslims were doing at the time. They were just mimicking the Jews that they had encountered in Baghdad. The Jews had their Talmud, their Midrash, and they said, "Hey, look what they got. Let's go ahead and create one for ourselves." And so this is where they started developing these hadiths. All right, so let's go ahead and call it a night, guys. We'll be back here next Monday, 5:30. Hadith Qudsi.
One last thing. We should do a series on Hadith, just the first chapter of Abu Dawood. It's on how to properly go to the bathroom. It's a whole chapter. It's hysterical.
No, I don't. Box and all that. I don't want to. All right. God bless y'all. We'll see you next week.
So, can I say something?
I'm ready to hit the end stream button. You better hurry.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I just love this topic. Thank you for so much for giving me time to share stuff here. I'd say we should look at Dr. Joshua Little as an academic. That's one thing I love that we do here is we go to the academic sources. We're not just doing emotional appeals as like some people are saying. Let's go to academic sources and we're having a discussion. Whatever people feel like, see, the difference between someone like me and Aladdin is that Aladdin wants to be in an echo chamber.
Okay, we're breaking up, Isa. I'm sorry. Sorry. All I heard was something about Aladdin and an echo chamber, but we'll look at Dr. Josh Little. Is he included in this? Let me know whether he's going to be included in this Hadith Qudsi that we're going to have. But I was just scanning through those during the show, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. God bless y'all. Y'all have a happy New Year. Stay safe, and we'll see you next Monday.
Advanced student and specialist, that the standard narrative has holes. That's what
that the Muslims were rioting against one another. And as much as we don't want to face the fact, the Muslims were lying sometimes. They were fabricating, they were embellishing, and that might be hard to accept, but that is a reality.